Brooke's new video is up.
Guys, welcome back to the Brooke and Candy Show. Without Candy, because I fired her. No.
This week I celebrated my 28th birthday, and anyone who knows me knows that I like to turn any event into a milestone. So even though 28 isn't actually, a big deal, for me it is, because it marks 10 years of being a member of the adult world. So I had a lovely birthday. I got so many beautiful gifts from my friends and family. Here's a little slideshow of some things that I got. I'm a pretty reflective person. I really like to zone in on what exactly needs work, because I think it's really true that life is a journey that is all about self-growth. And I think that as long as you are on this planet, your self-growth journey doesn't end. There is no such thing as perfection. You can only strive to become a better version of yourself every single day. I am planning to write a blog series on this topic over on my website, The Exhaustive Life. I'll put the link in the description below. But for now, let's have a look at my top 5 lessons from the last 10 years. So the first lesson is that we need to remember that perfectionism is the enemy. I am such a sucker for almost going manic with, being very excited about, the goals that I have, and then not doing anything about them because it feels like I'm not going to be able to achieve what the vision is in my mind. And it reminds me of when I go to the swimming pool, and just an aside, I have a fear of swimming pools now. But when I have gone to the swimming pool in the past and I have tried to swim, like using those paddle boards or the noodles, and it just feels like it's taking forever to move nowhere. That's how it feels when I have this vision in my mind of how things are supposed to go, and then life doesn't work out that way and I give up. And I think this is something that we just do as human beings, and kind of part of fighting that perfectionism is to accept that as human beings, we are not perfect. Because when we do accept that, we can then in turn accept that our actions are not going to be perfect, our habits are not going to be perfectly completed every single day, but that is not a signal for us to stop. I just realized that my cat is in the litter box right now, but you know what? I'm on a roll here, so just gonna have to put up with it, okay? This is definitely one of the most repeated pieces of advice across self-help literature. Done is better than perfect. If you are constantly chasing the perfect and in turn never getting anything done, you are depriving yourself of dopamine, of that nice feeling that you can achieve something. And over time, you start taking on the identity that you are not someone who gets something done. I think he's done. You done? Yeah, good boy. It's just the, uncomfortable truth that life is short, life is finite, and we don't have time to tread water. We have to start swimming. And that's probably a good reminder for me to actually take swimming lessons at some point in the coming year, when swimming lessons are a thing again. The book I'm going to recommend for this tip is James Clear's Atomic Habits, which is all about distilling your goals down into the steps you need to take and the systems you need to set up so that you propel yourself towards your goals. All right, lesson number 2 is knowing all of the different tools that you can use to make yourself feel better. Psychology, audience members, you can tell me if I'm wrong. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, I feel is like the most widespread system used by therapists nowadays. By training your mind to think a certain way and to be observant of your thoughts and your thought processes, you can, over the short and long term, change the way that you feel. My next recommendation is the Feeling Good Handbook by Dr. David Burns. It is huge, it is thick. Let me just get it from my self-help shelf. Oh my God, look, it's where the picture was before, it's real. The Feeling Good Handbook, really, really thick. Ooh, so much goodness in this book. Dr. Burns talks about 10 distorted thoughts that a person can have going, through their daily life. They include things like fortune telling. So if you predict that someone is going to be thinking things about you in a situation, should statements. So I shouldn't be feeling nervous if I'm getting up to give an oral presentation at work. These are all thoughts that make us feel crappy. You write down the thoughts that you're thinking, you identify the distortion, you rephrase the original thought into something that is not distorted and that is healthier. And then after you've done it, at the end, you compare how you felt when you were thinking the distorted thoughts to how you feel now that you have read your reframed thoughts. And I am not kidding. You will always feel better. I think for a long time, I just stewed in negative thoughts that, impacted my day. When now that I have this worksheet at my disposal, I can turn my mood around in minutes. So I am all about CBT. Whoops. This is The Happiness Trap. That's by Russ Harris, but it's based on ACT, which is Acceptance and Commitment Therapy. Why not train yourself up on these tools that you can pull out when you're feeling crappy? And the goal is just to, move yourself in the positive direction. Not that you have to be 100% happy, because happiness is a trap, as Russ Harris says in this book title. Okay, so knowing the tools, that is your second lesson. The third thing that I have learned, move away from being so self-focused and move towards being other-focused. Now, the book that really does shine a light on this is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Your goal should be to contribute somehow to others. And I've started reframing the way I see work. So I'm a teacher, so obviously, helping others is built into my job. But, I get frustrated by, admin related tasks and things like that. But even those things do help other people in the end. Moving the needle further that way. So the 7 habits, if you haven't read it or you're unaware, are separated into categories. So you've got the private victory first, which is becoming independent. And then once you've achieved that, you move into the public victory, which is about achieving interdependence. For Stephen Covey, the goal isn't actually to be independent. He's saying that once you've achieved that, you're going to transcend and start working in synergy with other people, where you combine your skills and your know-how with other people's skills and know-how and create something that you could not possibly have achieved on your own. Let's just do a bit of a reading. It also works really well if you're feeling crappy about yourself, is to draw the attention away from yourself. I think that specifically in social situations, we can become very trained on, how we're being perceived and, it's me. If you actually focus your attention on the other person that you're talking to and asking them questions and finding out more about them, you end up having a much better time and you make the other person feel good about themselves. And, what's not good about that? Okay. I'm not going to go back to the shelf, but, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That is like the granddaddy of all self-help books. Dale Carnegie talks about the importance of focusing on the other person. And I think that's a really good lesson. It's about finding the greater purpose in your day-to-day actions and seeing how everything you do affects other people in some way. All right, 4th lesson, stop letting others curate your consumption. What you consume is being decided on by everyone else. So if you go on Facebook, your feed is full of what other people like or what other people share. Same with Instagram. We live in a society now where attention is fractured. I mean, you've probably heard of the study where they found that, our attention span is like less than that of a goldfish now.
Feeding fish.
You have probably found yourself experiencing discomfort when you initially try to focus your attention on a single task for, a longer period of time. This would definitely be harder for younger people who maybe don't have very vivid memories of, having long hours of time where they didn't have a device at the ready to keep them almost pacified. Like, I remember being a kid and yeah, like I would get bored because I didn't have anything to do. But I also remember then turning that time into something creative or, something fun or something productive. So like Brooke and I would, ride our bikes outside, or I was playing Nancy Drew, which is all about problem solving. I was writing stories. I was filming skits with Brooke. These are all things that wouldn't have happened if I just had my phone there, ready to show me what everyone else thought I should be doing at the time. So everyone else thinks that you should be watching this video. And we all know that going on social media really like bends time. It can make an hour go by like that. Just looking at stuff that you don't even remember what you watched, because honestly, you didn't go out of your way to seek out that information, okay? It was given to you. Mark Manson is my next link. I'm gonna put 2 links in the description below. The first one's going to be his article about the attention diet and trying to pull yourself away from consuming junk online. My second link is he delves into the history of mainstream media and mainstream news specifically, and he talks about how we're actually being negatively impacted by the mainstream news that we're consuming. I love it. This is like a web quest for you guys. So a way to stop letting others curate your existence is if you sign out of YouTube, the algorithm obviously is going to stop recommending things to you based on what you've recently watched. That's really good. You can make custom lists on your social media feeds. I'm not sure if this is the case for Instagram, but for Facebook, obviously, you can make a list where you only see updates from specific friends, which makes sense. I wouldn't be taking on recommendations from 300 people that I know in real life. So why would I be doing it, via their likes and shares online? So yeah, it does take a little bit of effort, but you definitely can take the focus of your attention away from what other people are consuming and what other people are interested in, not letting that color your worldview and the things that you consume. Because again, life is limited. All right, so my final tip, this is really like a life hack, but it has just made such a difference when I do it. And that is leave notes for your future self. Oh, here's the final book recommendation. Getting Things Done by David Allen. So David Allen's point of view is that the brain should not be treated like a storage device, like it should be a thinking device. In order to take your brain beyond just being a memory machine and actually using it to get really productive and meaningful work done, we need to write things down. We need to have a safe repository of all the things that we need to remember. And it's just up to us to review those notes that we leave for ourselves. But in taking this a little bit further, I have definitely noticed this year that when I take notes after meetings, I'm able to review them before the next meeting and actually have something to say. This is not a joke. I mean, let's just look at, birthdays. We don't necessarily remember everyone's birthdays anymore, but if you're on Facebook, you get a notification, saying that someone's birthday is coming up. So, it's a bit of a reminder for you. Why not put this in place for yourself with everything in your life? I hope this video has been helpful. I'm really, really excited to see what happens over the next 10 years because I can't necessarily even fathom what could manifest. So who knows? See you in 10 years for more lessons I've learned. All of the links to the books and articles that I've mentioned will be in the description below. Maybe write in the comments what are some lessons that you have learned recently. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope this resonated with you, and I'll see you all soon on an upcoming episode of the Brooke and Candy Show. Bye.